Hey there, retro gamers! Last time we saw the Metal Jesus and Drunken Master Paul, they was heading down to Longview, Washington to hang out with Mr. John Hancock and see his Room of Doom. Sounds sinister, don't it? Well, far from it. That there room has a smorgasbord of game of goodness. It'd make Mario Shorthair stand straight on end. In this episode, they'll be showing some of John's favorites, from Nintendo to Sega, and they even got to play a few of those tasty titles. So grab a cold one, put your hand down your pants and sit a spell, cause this here's the MetalJesusRocks. Yeah!
Okay, so tell me, what are we looking at here?
You're looking at about 20 years of actively aggressive video game collecting, mostly all of it found in person in the wild.
Wow. How many games do you have?
About 6,000.
About 6,000.
About 6,000.
Damn. That is nuts. And what does it cover? To cover everything?
Atari, Nintendo, Sega, multiple complete collections, Sega Genesis box US collection.
That's nuts.
One of my bigger sets. But yeah, every wall is a different theme. Yeah.
Really?
Yes.
Okay, point out the themes. What themes you got?
Nintendo wall.
Nintendo wall.
Nintendo wall.
The wall. Oh, Mario. What we got?
Things before Nintendo. And all the old school stuff. 1972 Odyssey on to all the obscure stuff.
Nice. And over there is?
Sega, Xbox, PlayStation.
Wow. And that wall over there?
That is box stuff that I didn't have any other place to put.
And up here. And there isn't up here. I'm not kidding.
Oh, the Blues Brothers poster.
Oh.
One of my favorite scores.
Fantastic.
So yeah, that's a quick nuts and bolts.
Now, you were going to go through and show me some of the more interesting and, I guess, rare Nintendo games.
Yeah.
Now, there's people are just going to lose their mind seeing this stuff.
Yeah. Well, I'm going to show you a couple weird things that not everybody has. Some people have Boy in the Blob, and that doesn't make it rare and unique. But I have David Crane and Gary Kitchen's autograph on this, and got to have dinner with them and talk about it. Talk about the whole production of this game. So that to me was awesome.
That's awesome. Beautiful condition too, isn't it?
Yeah, it's a great shape. Bubble Part 2.
Why is it so? Okay, I have to ask, why is this game so rare? You hear about it all the time. Like people who are trying to complete their collection. This is one of the last few games, right?
Well, what it is there, by the early 90s, Nintendo has really phased out a high production of, and several companies had moved on to Genesis, Super Nintendo.
Okay.
But there was some late releases, and this is one of them.
Okay.
On Nintendo, and Bubble Bobble Part 2 is in a limited production. Some of even Taito's games were almost exclusive to rental stores, and so this game is incredibly hard to get complete, and especially in a box and everything. And it's a fun game. It's on top of being hard to get.
People want to play.
Yeah, it's a good game to play.
Now you have another game of bragging rights, though.
Yeah,
it's a stadium game. I think you run in place. What is that game?
Yeah, stadium events. This is the U.S. version. I made this cover, but I didn't make this.
How rare is that game?
I would say probably less than 100 have surfaced in collectors' hands. Flintstones, Surprise at Dinosaur Peak. Now the card alone is worth hundreds. Boxed, much harder to get. And so I got this several years ago before it was really, really hard to get. So this is a one incredibly awesome side scroller. It plays a little bit like it's kind of like the game Strider on Nintendo. It plays a little bit like Batman. Probably Batman's a closer bit, but it's a great platformer, great graphics, great level design. and nobody talks about it. Why? Because everybody bought the Marios, the Bubble Bobbles, the Tetrises. Nobody bought Shatterhand. Here's an amazing, all 3 Ninja Gaiden. So what is hard about these games? Well, you can't save. This version you can. So you start off and there's a save feature and you can go right back to the level where you're at. And all three games have a little bit minor graphic improvements over the Nintendo. Awesome game.
I see.
Pretty expensive.
Interesting, huh?
Yeah, from Factor 5, which is a favorite of mine.
Okay.
Factor 5 did this, and really a good version of kind of like plays a lot different than the original one. It's kind of like a cross between Turrican and like Super Star Wars.
Really?
It's a very unique RPG. Again, there's not many games that play like this. It's a really unique gameplay. Fun to play. Really deep.
It's down. It's an Enix game as well.
Yeah. Pocky and Rocky 2. Okay, Pocky and Rocky. It's a shooter.
That sounds weird.
It's a shooter. It's a cutesy kind of a shooter. A lot of fun. Natsume.
Man, this sounds awesome. Actually.
Yeah.
It just sounds weird and something we would play, isn't it?
Yeah, and the only box I've ever seen is the one in my hands.
Really?
You find it, but it's expensive.
Huh.
Yeah. I had a good friend who she needed rent money, and she knew that it was going to Good Home, and so I paid her top dollar. Actually, I probably paid market value for this. Back in the day, I probably paid I'd say it's worth more now, but I paid her handsomely for it, knowing that she needed the money for rent, and she knew it was going to Good Home. So I bought pretty much 2/3 of all the Working Designs games and all the great SNES RPGs in one shot.
Wow.
And I was eating ramen and broke for a while.
Everyone seems to be looking for this role-playing game.
Yes.
Now, have you played Earthbound?
Yeah.
Did you like it?
Yeah, it's comical, sarcastic, humorous. Art style is unique.
It gets dark, right?
Yeah, it does.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a fun game. It was just what separates it is there wasn't anything else like it, and a unique art style. And I got my complete copy. It was $80, but it was half off that day, and I got it for $40.
Did you buy it new? Like at
I bought it at a place that was selling paintballs and used video games, and this is a decade ago, so this is before.
Because this game is what, $300 now?
Yeah, I would say it's starting to ramp up, and in the condition it is, and the scratch and sniff stickers, the strategy guide. It's fairly new.
So it has scratch and sniff stickers in there. So we need to ask Drunken Master Paul, what's the beer of the night?
The beer of the night. Move it over, buddy. Beer of the night. That would be the first time.
I know, he's moving me. Okay.
Yeah. Beer of the night is Dick Danger Ale. This is from Dick's Brewing Company in Centralia, Washington. Drink well. Drink like a dick.
Incredibly tasty.
Clinky.
We now return you to your games already in progress.
We should probably go, I think, to Game Boy, which is something you don't... Game Boy and Game Boy Advance would be really...
Okay.
You know what I mean? Because you don't really hear about that often.
Walmart had a exclusive set. So this exclusive set came with Killer Instinct. So it's another kind of neat. I got it at Goodwill for $10. Metroid Fusion and Metroid Zero Mission. Metroid Zero Mission being one of my favorite Game Boy Advance games because it's the remake of the original, and it's awesome.
It is awesome.
Any form of a Castlevania fan, these are a must. They're amazing. All three are great. Make sure you do your laundry and kiss your girlfriend and go camp out in the bathroom for months on end and have fun.
That doesn't sound right.
Well, you know what I mean. But
yeah, I do.
Yeah.
I just don't think you know what I mean.
Yeah, I do. I bought this at a dollar store. There was a whole stack of them in Reading, and it was a video game, and yes, it's for Game Boy Color of all things.
Well, Justin is pretty dreamy there. I'm just saying.
All I can say is it looks so terrible. I collect terrible games. If it's terrible, I want to play it. I have a couple of strange things in my collection, and this is one of them. It's sealed. It'll stay sealed.
I was saying, you haven't played that one yet, though.
Yeah, it's gonna stay sealed. Metal Gear Solid for Game Boy Color. Amazing. Really good shape. Hard to get boxed.
Yeah.
I'd like to show you a game that hardly anybody has, and it's an amazing homebrew project. It's Ghosts and Zombies for ColecoVision, which is a spiritual port of Ghosts and Goblins, and it's amazing. Love it.
Cool.
Good stuff.
Let's rock it. So this was Ghosts and Goblins originally?
No, well, it's a port.
Right.
This guy did this all by, like, so it's screen by screen, and see the background like the moon. And this is on the ColecoVision, so this is like, it's got the red demon.
Cool.
Is there much on the N64 that is considered rare or hard to find?
Probably a dozen or so N64 games that are starting to ramp up in price. For example, Starcraft. Everybody bought Starcraft, not for the N64.
I was going to say, I own several copies for the PC.
Yeah. So when everybody bought the Starcraft, it was not for the N64. Clay Fighter 63rd and a third Sculptor's Cut.
I've heard of this game.
And the box is pretty brutal to find. The manual is even harder to get.
And that's complete?
It's complete. Oh gosh, International Superstar Soccer 2000.
What? Really?
Yeah.
So a sports title. I mean, this is the first sports title you've mentioned.
Yeah, you know, it's funny because I did a whole thing on a couple years ago about sports titles. Don't underestimate how difficult sports titles can be. Genesis set, there's several sports titles that are ridiculous to get. This is the hard one to get for Nintendo 64. It's pretty hard to get.
All right, dude. Of all your 650,000 games you've got in here, what's your fave?
Robotron 2084, Atari 7800.
Really?
Yep.
Okay, that surprises me because that's a fairly straightforward, two-handle shooter, right?
Well, I have a little case of ADHD, and I think if I wanted to showcase what ADHD is like, it's this game.
Do it. Let's
madness on a screen. It's co-op. It's candy goodness. I feel like I'm at Willy Wonka's chocolate factory when I'm playing
delicious gaming goodness.
And the other thing about this game, you will die. There's no going on forever. You will die in this game. Unless you have mad skills like that. Oh yeah.
Yeah, baby.
Oh! Ah, good game, man.
That's it. Nice job.
Yeah. So, yep, that's my favorite version. That's why.
Everybody. Snail.
Oh, it's gonna TIE Fighter at the end. Poke me in the face. Nice. Warlords and Crazy Climber, made for the Astrocade. And
Two of my favorite arcade games.
So, like, this is 10 of 50, and there was only 20 of these in the world. And they made 20, and that's it. Oh, my Sealed Snatcher for Sega CD.
I've heard that game is incredibly hard to find.
Anything called Sealed Snatcher is going to be difficult to find unless you're in Vegas, and then it costs you $500
I'm
a
going to
night.
put Outback Joey because this is really hard to get. It actually came with its own system. It was a Genesis, and it was an exercise health video game. It does run on Genesis hardware. You can put this in a Genesis and it'll hook up, but it came with its own unique controllers and stuff. And there's not many of these have surfaced. Sealed Snatcher. I bought this at a pawn shop near my hometown for $2. Sealed.
You know what? Show me some really cool old Atari 2600 games, because that's my love. So
Okay,
yeah,
this is a game that plays a little bit like Berserk, and Tiger Vision had really neat box art It's in really good shape, but this is a pretty uncommon game.
Yeah, I don't think I've ever heard of it
This
before.
is just a brand new 4K homebrew Halloween themed game, Candy Catcher. Cute little game,
So that's brand new.
brand new, came out this last week. Number
Wow.
4245. G.I. Joe and I have both versions. There's a variant. One's a black and white cart, and the other one's colored. So that's a black and white. No, that's a colored cart.
Totally got you.
Oh no, totally, man. Oh,
This is Drunken Master Paul. We had a great time with John in here. Oh, what was it again? We're totally got to come back and do some more stuff. Where the hell do you get these things, man?
barrel roll.
Stay tuned for part 3. Good.